Thank you for joining us in the Growth Now movement. We are Justin and Zach, two entrepreneurs who wanted to bring you people's amazing stories of inspiring growth in business and in life. So let the growth begin. Hey guys, Justin and Zach here. Just wanted to thank you so much for tuning into this episode. But I wanted to take a moment and talk to you a little bit about what we cover in this episode and why it may be a little bit different. We were introduced to William Hollis by a mutual friend, and his story is absolutely phenomenal. During this episode, we talk about losing your mother at a young age and how I can relate. We talk about living in an inner city and overcoming all obstacles. We talk about how William went from living on the street and eating out of trash cans to become a motivational speaker and inspiring kids across the country. It is an absolutely amazing story. The setup of this episode is a little bit different than our ones in the past because we literally were speechless as we were having this interview with William. So please take a moment, listen to what we have here. It's an amazing story that William has, and we're glad that we can share it with you. Enjoy. Hey, William, take it away.
Absolutely, man. Well, I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan, right across from the Pontiac Silverdome where Barry Sanders used to play at. A very rough city, a lot of bad circumstances. You know, my mother was a young mother, had me when she was 14, 15 years old. She basically, she fought her hardest to be a good mother, an awesome mother to be. She was on government assistance, and a lot of people in the inner city, they believe government assistance is living, but I tell them government assistance is poverty with a little sprinkled on it. You know
right.
what I mean? And I say, if you take this welfare away from us, this would make us poor. So that's where you get a lot of inner city kids to say, I grew up poor. It was you would get food, and sometimes your parents would sell food stamps for money to get their hair done or money to get their nails done, because we all know when you work, you don't really get welfare. And if you don't have a college degree, what's better, working at McDonald's or working at home and get welfare? You know what I mean? But at the same time, we were very poor, didn't have much. The majority of our good times came with meals to this day. A good time for me is a great meal. I don't really care about the clubs and the partying, and that can attest to my success as a speaker and as a young entrepreneur. Sure. I think growing up humble and not being able to wear the same Jordans and clothes and all the nice things those other kids had, only thing I had was my purpose. And that was my dream. And when I go around speaking to a lot of people about, I was chasing the clock. I was on the clock. My mother's life was on the line. Usually be situations where I had to succeed. I had no choice but to succeed. And my route to success is being extraordinary in everything I do. And that's because I knew if I didn't perform at a top level playing football, it was no way I was going to save my mom's life from the depths of heroin. And my mother was abused by her father. She was molested by her father as a child. So she also started raising kids as a child, dealing with those demons. Right. But, me and my brothers and sisters, we didn't go to school saying our mothers wasn't doing this, our mother wasn't doing that, because we had a young and a mature understanding at a young age that if we went and told these people, they would break and split up the only family and the only people I love. So we endured. And I learned the lesson of endurance at a young age. So when I got to, mind you, I'm only 26 now. So when I got to the 15, 16, I was 23, 24 compared to my age group. Right. Because I knew I had to be exceptional. As I went on to continue to play football, I had a cousin, Sam Rogers, that took me. And he played with the Buffalo Bills. He's from Pontiac, Michigan. At the time, he was playing with the San Diego Chargers. It was basically like some Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type stuff. I moved from the slums to Marina Del Rey, literally right next door to Kid Norton, a house down from Damon Wayne's wife. He had divorced her, so it was just him and his kids.
It was just the wife's house.
Hey, listen. It was his son. He actually just made a pizza commercial. He opened the box. I forgot. He opened the box and he had a piece of gum talking to him. I remember sitting out my cousin's window watching him and his brother shoot the skits to send to directors and companies to get them discovered, and to see them on television right now. Yeah. To see me. I was a little kid at the time. I was the baby, but I was watching them, and I was always amazed by Hollywood.
That's awesome.
And like I said, I went down there, man, my first night. I was sleeping in this big bed. My uncle got this big NFL emblem in the bottom floor. And we basically, I get on the bed and sleep my first night. I jump off the bed, man, because I wasn't used to sleeping on a soft, big bed like that.
Yeah,
I
right.
was comfortable on. Till this day, I sleep like a baby on the couch. I love the couch. I don't know what it is. It's just my thing.
Yeah, that brings you back.
Yes, it was a lot of that, and my mother struggled with drug addiction my whole time playing football. So as a kid, I never had a chance to be a kid. I had to think about NFL. Anybody in my neighborhood would tell you, I walk around my hood, my neighborhood would say all the time, I'm going to the NFL. This was my gift. It was like I had to believe in the most impossible dreams and believe that they'd come true. Because if I did it, there really was no way. It was no scientific method that this dream was going to come true. And I had no idea how to obtain this dream. And the only thing I used was the fact that my mother's life was ticking on the clock. My baby brother and sister, we were still living in poverty. I'm in California, living in this nice big house. I'm uncomfortable because the people that I grew up and I love is still in that struggle. So at this point, my brother is hurting because his big brother is gone, and he don't know that I'm doing this to take care of us. But at the same time, the only friend and the only protection he ever had was gone. So I'm dealing with this as a young kid. I'm in high school dealing with this. Everything is not good enough for me. I go out and make 25 tackles and get off the field and be like, Coach, I'm ready for the next game. I'm chasing I need the money.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. I needed the money. And once I learned and once football was taken from me, long story short, I believe that it showed me that it's very important to work for your purpose instead of the money.
Right.
Because when you work for your purpose will begin to work for you. Things will start to manifest. Things will start to be in line with each other. You'll start to connect with different people. You know what I mean? Like I connected with Zach through a friend. I went to a Nerium event. I don't care for Nerium. I don't care to spell Nerium. But I went there for connection.
Sure.
And when I'm sitting at the bar, Jamie say, what's up to Zach? And Zach say, hey. I say, hey, Zach, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a businessman, so I give my spiel, a little bit of my story right away. Zach says, I'll be interested in, maybe I have some people that might be interested in doing an interview with you. And that's what I mean when I say things start to align. I'm sitting there having a great time, enjoying a beer. And I get an interview with Zach. Out of all, just going out to just getting up off my butt behind. It had nothing to do. I could have enjoyed my beer at a coaster bar in Exeter. Right. But I went all the way up there because I wanted a new scenery, never been there. And I met people, and that's what I tell people. People only move because money is the motive. I don't move. That's the mistake they missing. I learned during the process when I would work and go speak for free, I would basically get more love than I would get when I would get a paid event. Because what it's doing is I'm going to show you love, but the next time around, you're going to want to pay me.
Right.
Because I'm going to blow you away so much that you're going to feel sorry for not paying me. Right. And that's not because I'm demanding it. I'm not even going to say the price. I'm going to let you make the price because I'm going to tell you, I'm more excited to hear what you feel about me. And people never understand what they're like, well, why do you keep working for these letters of recommendation? Why do you keep doing this? I said, because those letters of recommendation will always be here. Those dollars will be spent. Yep. And my letters of recommendation will linger forever. And I haven't posted motivational videos. I haven't done anything. I let everybody go off word of mouth because I believe word of mouth is the old, best, and effective tradition to business. And I feel like if your best friend, say if you tell Zach, I just went and heard William Hollis speak, the kid was absolutely amazing. He gonna want to listen to his boy. He gonna be like, I'm gonna tell him, I gotta tell him. Or instead of a random person coming up saying, hey, you ever heard of William Hollis? I don't know you. Yeah. But anything close to your heart, you gonna follow. Right. And I don't care if that's people or your dream, anything you do. And what I do is, as a speaker, the number one thing is speak from the heart. I don't write my speeches. I get a obnoxious of what my speech will be about, the type of crowd, and I sat in the dark room the night before and everything comes to my heart. I think about stories in my life that coexist with this type of crowd. Mm-hmm. And when I get to the crowd, I get a feeling from the crowd, and then I pour from my heart. When you pour from the heart, anything you do, you're going to touch the soul. Right. When you talk from the heart, you're going to touch the heart. I don't even care if they don't like you. You will touch their heart. They know what's real and what's fake. And that's what I bring to the speaking game. And I feel like I will be big as Les Brown, Willie Jolly. I've spoken to both of them. They all familiar with my story. I'm 26 years old. I think I'm charming. I got a long way to go, so much more to learn. But I got so much knowledge and wit about myself. In the business side, think about this. I went from an injured linebacker, couldn't play football, homeless in the street, not a garbage can. Now I'm a motivational speaker that can speak for drug rehabilitation centers, hospitals, schools, rehab. You know what I mean? Like anything I want, anything that got to do with this real life, heroin epidemic. I lost my mother to a heroin addiction. Anything, I went from being a lost kid to being an entrepreneur on the up, and I won't be stopped because I own the copyrights of my story.
Right.
I don't need nobody else to help me go because nobody gonna tell you how I can tell you.
First of all, I'm blown away. Story's amazing. Your passion is real, like you said. I'm glad I got to know you here. Your story's incredible. I can relate slightly. Obviously, I didn't grow up in a poor town. I grew up in a rich town. But to kind of tell you how I relate, I mean, from birth to age of 12, I was very upper middle class. My parents, did well. Whatever, and then both of them made very, very poor decisions. My dad ended up doing 2.5 years in jail. My mom had a prescription pill addiction, which unfortunately, after a 20-year battle, just 2.5 months ago, I lost her.
Wow.
So it's relatable from that standpoint, where you want to do so well in life for them.
Yes.
I actually almost teared up when you were telling the story, but
yes.
But it's one of those things that you watch this kind of unfold,
yes.
but it was a 20-year back and forth battle, and she unfortunately, due to all the Oxycontins that she's taken over 20 years, it wasn't like one overdose. Right. 20 years formed a rupture in her stomach, and she bled internally in the middle of the night. Zach and I were actually away on vacation, just having a great time, great weekend, and I got a phone call, so the doctor says you need to come. And I got there around 1:15 in the morning, and she was gone by 1:40 in the morning. So, yeah, so it was it's a whirlwind, and part of my motivation and drive behind launching this the right way and doing this the right way and reaching as many people as I can is her. Because I want to make her proud, just like you want to make your mom proud,
Absolutely.
And, so I relate wholeheartedly, and your message hit home for sure.
But I got something to tell you, big guy. If you look at all the great kings, every king had to take a traumatic loss before he truly got his crown and truly was crowned the king and the leader. And now I tell all the people that I meet that only people who lost their mother can know the feeling.
Yeah.
It's a magical feeling. It's a painful, but it's a magical feeling because once you lose your mother, there's no obstacle life can throw at you that can have you afraid. And that, my friend, is a it factor. That's a gift that I know that you're going to apply to your business, your podcast, everything about your life. And it's going to be a success because you know, I already went through enough pain. For every tear, and I'll probably just say for every tear, I want 1 million.
Yeah. I'd have lots of millions.
Tear, I want 1 million.
Yeah.
So I tell people, save your tears. Don't ever forget them. Because this is what you just said. And I'm struggling the same way you are. And it's funny you say pills because I'm writing a book and I missed that part. Because how she started was with opiates.
Right.
That's how you start. And when those are not strong enough anymore, you go to another level. Right. Or you increase the dosage.
Yep.
Or some people just switch drugs entirely. But it's just such a blessing. I got goosebumps because out of everybody I ever got interviewed by, I've never met anybody that lost their mother.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because when she passed, even the preacher said, nobody will ever understand you but another person that lost their mother.
It's true.
But the people that you meet, it's not a coincidence I meet you, and I'm going to let you get on with the interview. But I know you're a great person, man, and I know that you're going to do great things, big guy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I say this, and I don't mean that Zach's an amazing friend, and he was there driving me to the hospital till 1 in the morning and so on and so forth. But you've never been surrounded by so many people and felt so alone at the same time.
Oh,
that's And it's mind blowing. And I don't say that to hurt somebody else's feelings, but because they all my friends and my family were there for me, but you still feel
it's a numbness.
It is.
You're there, but you're not. You're like a shell at that moment.
Yeah.
How I looked at it, how I described it like my soul didn't accept that my mother was gone, so I felt like my soul left my body to try to find her. But he found out that he can't find her. It's out of his reach now.
Yeah.
And that's the mourning time. That's the mourning. That's when you're mourning. Your soul is outside. Your soul is searching for something else. Look, at the same time, you always gonna feel alone when you lose your mind. Can't nobody else attest. I love you too. Thank you for being here for me. But at the same time, you will never understand the pain until it happens to you. And when it happens to you, I'm gonna be there for you.
Right.
And now you're gonna understand more than ever, more than I understood. So that's what you're for. That's what you use for now. And for you to start this podcast and have people share their story, this is a part of your heart. This is a part of the Lord. This is a part of everything good. And when you do good, you get good. And this show going to be a hit. And this show going to be amazing today, man. And I promise you that.
So when you were talking, William, one thing that I gauged from it was you had mentioned purpose. How did you give yourself a purpose in the situation you were at? I mean, you said big part of the reason why you got to where you're at is because you gave yourself that purpose. How did you do that? How do you know to do that?
I think a human being is capable of doing anything a human being wants to do when their life is on the line. And have you ever heard somebody say, I don't have any other choice? That's the choice that we all are given in the inner city. My purpose came because if I didn't put all my energy towards my purpose, the demons on the outside world would have got to me. It would have took control of me. I would have been in the streets. I would have been out hanging out at all times of the night, disobeying my mother's rules and not caring about any kind of structure. And when I realized that if I didn't cherish my purpose more than I cherish my situation, I would never succeed. And it all came down ultimately to my life being on the line. I obtained my purpose and knew that I had to put all my energy into my purpose because I knew if I didn't, I would have been dead.
Wow. You talk about making a choice. You lived in the inner city and you made a choice to obey your mother's rules and focus on your dreams. And you see a lot of people from the inner city go, well, this is what I've witnessed and this is what I know and this is what I'm going to do. What would be one word of advice or a tip to somebody who's stuck in a situation where maybe they're surrounded by individuals who've made bad choices? What would you say to them? This is why you need to be different.
You need to be different because you have a gift inside of you. Everybody on this earth has a gift that lies inside of them. But a lot of people never open the gift. I always say God leaves your gift at the bottom of the stairs, but it's your job to go get it. Are you willing to go down all them obstacles? Are you willing to climb back up with that gift to show the world? And I tell them, don't let your reality be your forever. You cannot let your reality be your forever. You got to break the cycle. We have kids that grow up in households where all the cousins are drug dealers. The only people taking care of the household is this drug dealer. This drug dealer goes out and sells this dope, gets all this money. He gives this family that's poor in the inner city their first big Christmas, their first Thanksgiving. Uncle JJ throws all the parties. He's the biggest drug dealer. In the city, in the hood, we brag about our cousins that's the biggest drug dealer. Like the inner city kids, like the suburb kids brag about their parents being a doctor or a lawyer. What happens is JJ goes to jail, and he has his little cousin Mike right here on the side of him. His little cousin Mike is saying, how can I feed my family? Since JJ went to jail, we've been poor, we've been hungry, and we've been without. Mike says the only thing he ever seen, the way to make money, was JJ selling weed and selling dope. So what Mike gonna do? He gonna go do the same thing that JJ did, but it becomes a cycle. And it has to be a king in between one of those families and one of those cycles that says, I want to change. You have to put in your brain that I want to change the image, the picture, the infrastructure of my family. And the only way to do that is to have unbelievable faith. That's what it takes.
Who was your king?
God.
Nice. I like that answer because, that shows, obviously, your faith. And it also shows that you had the willpower and the want to rise above. You talked earlier about almost your Will Smith story, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air story, where you had an opportunity to go live somewhere else and in a different world, essentially. What did you take from that opportunity, or what did you take from that happening in your life?
Los Angeles was a big move. It was I took a lot of knowledge from the wealthy people that lived around me. I moved to Marina Del Rey, California from Pontiac, Michigan. This is a big difference. Pacific Ocean right down the street from my house. I can literally walk 25 steps and walk right into the beach. And this was different. But the biggest thing I learned about that is in the inner city, we had this mechanism that when people talk to you or give you compliments, you weird. Like it's weird. Even in Philly, even in any big city. Yeah. Like it's weird for people just to come up and say, hey, how are you doing? I hope you have a fantastic day. And what I learned was there is genuine good people in this world, but you have to give them a chance. You know what I mean? You have to let that, because in the inner city, we believe good is bad and bad is good. So everything that's looking on the up and up and the good side, we looking at it like it's corny. It's like it's fake. It can't be real.
Right.
And the biggest thing I learned, and I get a lot of grief from this, is they say blood is thicker than water. I have gained more family other than my blood that was there for me when I was homeless than I ever did with my own blood family. I will call. I will be sent a voicemail. I will text. No message will reply. So what I learned in Los Angeles is you don't have to be blood to be family. And the gift that I tell all kids that grow up without their fathers, if you think you're not blessed, you're crazy. Because what you're going to get is a multitude of fathers. You're going to get a lot of them. You're going to get a lot of knowledge. He got one father, you got 10. So who really got it bad? Me or him?
Right.
That was some of the biggest thing. The biggest thing I learned in Los Angeles was how to appreciate life and people. And don't push good people away. Don't push good people out of your life.
Wow. For a young guy, that seems very impressive, especially, I mean, when you're a football player, freshman in college, there's a lot of temptations out there. It seems like your purpose, helped you stay on course.
My life was on the line. That's what I tell every reporter that ever interviewed me after my football, my senior year. They said, Will, how did you persevere? How did you do it? I went to California a little after the mother of my child, mom, was paralyzed in a car accident. I was the #1 linebacker in black college football, and Terry Boughton had called and told me to come to North Alabama and play football for me. I believe you're the next Keel Spikes. I coached him at Auburn. I go down there. We go on a recruiting trip, great boat trip, eat some great lobster. I get to pick a lobster from the tank, even have a couple of drinks as well. We sat down there, and I'm like, this is the place I need. Atlanta was growing too fast for me. I was losing my purpose that I was there. I was still trying to save my mother's life. I was dominating on the football field, but I was in strip clubs. I was living the wrong way. I was living like a young man, you know what I mean? And I was forgetting my purpose. Basically, going into my senior year, going into the spring, I get a call saying, Will, your daughter is being born. I fly to Boston to give birth to my daughter. The day after she's born, the mother of my child mom is paralyzed leaving the hospital. I go from the #1 black college linebacker, one of the top-rated NFL prospects in the country, and to a therapeutic assistant in Boston, Massachusetts, because I had to leave school because she had to take care of her brother and sister. So I had to leave school, give up my career, and potentially choose my daughter over my mother was the hardest decision I ever had in my life. But ultimately, I made a decision to go take care of my daughter. That day I did it, I got a phone call from my mother, and my mom, she just kept telling me that I'm proud of you. No matter what, I'm proud of you. But it was like she was telling me that I'm tired now, and I don't have that much left in me. So this ate at me every single day to the pits of my stomach. And they ate at me, and I'm working. I'm going in closets crying because I'm a security guard when I know I'm an NFL potential linebacker. This year I was supposed to play with Janoris Jenkins, Marcus Doughton, and a few other NFL players that transferred into the school. I work up enough money to get my family situated. I go to California. I get a call from Keith Higdon, and he say, Will, I can't promise you a scholarship. I can't promise you a house. I can't promise you a meal plan, but I promise you an opportunity. I said, I'll take it. I got on Facebook. I messaged a couple players. I said, can I sleep on your floor until I gain my scholarship? I said, I will gain my scholarship. I guaranteed them I will gain my scholarship. They let me sleep on this floor. I had a cornerback named Adam Lucas. I slept next to his dog cage. I smelled shit for weeks. But I knew deep down in the pit of my stomach, I knew I had to make it. But before all of this, I go to California and train with my cousin to get back in shape. 2 weeks in the training, I get a call that said, Will, your mother has passed away of a heroin overdose from a crack house. Foam from her mouth and foam from her eyes. My queen. Everything that I ever lived for, everything that I ever did, it was all gone. I took a trip after burying my mother. We barely can bury her. I had a family full of drug dealers that wouldn't even come out their pockets to give my mother a casket. My mother's casket was too small, her suit was too small, and the funeral home did a terrible job. I had to sit there and look at my mother in the box, and it looked nothing like her, but I know this was my 37-year-old mother lying in bed. I looked at it as this is life and death. I told myself, if I can make it through this situation, I will be unstoppable, and I will be exceptional in everything I do for the rest of my life. I got on the road with a drug dealer cousin that drove to, the only reason I got a ride to go to Tuskegee is because he was going to drop off a bundle of heroin in Birmingham, Alabama. If I didn't jump in the car, I wouldn't have a ride. I remember dropping that heroin off in Birmingham, Alabama, and continuing my route down to Tuskegee, and we dropped off into a small city. It's a slight, quick turn into the Tuskegee, Alabama area. And when I saw it, all in all, with the drugs and all that stuff going through my brain, scared I'm going to get caught, get pulled or whatever, I see these hills and I see these fields and I see this country land, and I started to feel at home. And I started to realize that my life was just beginning. I started to realize that this is my new life. Make the best of it. So I went and I slept next to that city dog cage every night, and I went out there and I self-trained myself because I had to leave early due to the death of my mother. And I trained. I was I called it Bobby Bell Boy training. I did everything on my own. Everything. Worked my way back in shape. We had these things called 500s, and you won from goalpost to goalpost to goalpost to goalpost and finish. I was out of shape. I went in and entered the camp with no scholarship, no money, no nothing. Out of shape. I was the only linebacker to pass this test, and it was kids that been in this school for 2 years training every day while I was just burying my mother, eating food and trash and depressed. But you know what got me through that 500s? Pure determination and my purpose. I was not supposed to finish that conditioning test in time, but I did. At the end of that camp, I obtained an apartment, a full scholarship, and the debt that I had on my student list, my student portfolio, the debt that I had on it was deleted by a sweet woman. I won't say her name because it may get her in trouble. She deleted every single debt I had in the computer, and could nobody tell me that that wasn't God. I had an $8,000 debt that she had deleted. She obliterated by a click of a key. I'm working for my purpose. So I get to this team and I play. I get to this team and I play and I play and I give it everything I got. The old wheels starting to come out. I was already an All-American in this conference, but you know, it's all about what have you done for me lately. And I had done nothing. I went out there, won, dominated it, had a great camp, got the scholarship, all that good stuff. Coming to the season, they bring a linebacker coach in. He didn't recruit me. So he wasn't a fan of mine. He didn't like my style of play. I was like Lawrence Tate. I was wild. I played the game 100 miles per hour, cut the brakes. I would break my neck to break your neck. That's what kind of linebacker I was. I didn't care. He didn't like that style. He liked the preppy boys, the good boys, stay on the good foot, not the wild boy. And he blackballed me, never played me. Then they moved me to defensive line. They didn't know I played defensive line too. I dominated that. Best pass rusher on the team. Best defensive player on the team. And the defensive line coach say, you're a thug. I did my research on you. Your family, your father was a criminal. You're going to be a criminal. You're going to do the same thing. I get up, and he let me play in the homecoming game. I get 3 sacks in 5 plays. I kick my feet up in the air, blow a kiss to my mother, and he called me to the sideline and said, you're show off, you're a thug, and you'll never play another day for me.
Wow.
Ruining my only chance at NFL. So he say, Will, you'll never play for me, so why are you still here? I go to a coach in the next door office. I said, Coach, I need somewhere to play football. I got 8 games left for college football, and I got a tryout with the Columbus Lions to go play professional football. The coach said, Coach Gibson said, your chances are very slim because I have veterans that played this game. I had probably a 10% chance of making the team. By the end of that camp, I was a starting defensive end, and I had a condo in Columbus, Georgia. I dominated. Again, my life was on the line. If I didn't perform, I didn't have a place to live. End up getting married to a girl that I went to college with. She proposed to me. And this was, I tell everybody, I was lost. I needed love. They say people come to your life for reasons and seasons. I needed it. She was a Jamaican girl, something different than something I wasn't accustomed to. Caribbean girl, sweet, fun, lovable, but crazy. I didn't know about that. So hear me trying to love somebody and I'm still broken. Basically, all I try to do is I set these bricks on top of a shelf waiting for them to fall. And when they fell, it hit me hard. All the pain that I felt from my mother, it came right back. I was playing great football, but I was on suicide watch, my coach said. He said, Will, you're not fit to be on the team. I care about you more as a man than as a player. But I said, Coach, if you care about me, why would you kick me out of an apartment? I don't got nowhere else to go. He kicked me out on the street after everything I'd done for the team. Put this team in playoff contention. Won games with sacks. But this was a lesson I learned that it ain't about what you did. It's about what you're doing for them now. I went to my sister's house and I slept on my sister's couch in Michigan. I slept on her couch and I would cry every day. And one day my sister, she was a registered nurse, and she stopped by the couch and she said, Will, she threw her bag down. She said, I'm sick and tired of this SHIT. She said, Will, you are the backbone to our family. You are the person that made us believe when nobody else made us believe. And you mean to tell me this girl got you here crying? This team got you here crying? 2 days later, I get a message on Facebook for a world-renowned bodybuilder named Marcus Taylor in Toronto, Canada. Born in Pontiac, Michigan, went to middle school with my mother. My mother used to take up for him. Crazy, he a bodybuilder now. He said, how would you like to come to Toronto for a fresh start? To get your life in order, to get your body in impeccable shape, and do the things that you know you're destined to do on the football field. And I said, this is what I need. New scenery, new country, everything beautiful. Toronto's a beautiful place. I go over there, I'm staying in Mississauga. We staying down there, we living, everything going well. My trainer is doing this thing, we training, he ripping fat off me, my body's starting to build, I'm starting to feel love. All of a sudden he say I got a tax case that I gotta handle, and he basically end up becoming homeless because of him losing all his money, go back to paying back taxes. This leaves me homeless. I'm sleeping at a train station in downtown Mississauga. I say, Will, if you go back now, you're gonna lose your life. You ain't gonna be nothing. So I would rather be homeless on the streets of Toronto than live in the United States on the floor at a friend's house. I always could see the bigger picture. But I remember what I told myself. If I can make it through this right now No one would ever be able to stop me. So as I continued to train, I had a gym called Good Life in downtown Toronto. And it was a trainer that used to be in there, and he used to be like, yeah, your trainer used to bring you here. I was like, I lost my trainer. I'm homeless now. I need to keep training. He says, I don't know what I'm doing, but you can come work out here for free for the remainder of the time you're in Toronto. This guy. I'm eating out of a garbage can in the mall, and a small Jamaican lady see me. She said, what are you doing? What you doing? I'm thinking I'm being sneaky and they can't see me, but she see me. She said, I want to pick you up, take you to church. And every time she try to pick me up, I'll meet her somewhere else. So the third time she picked me up from church, she caught me coming out the bushes from my bag. From her picking me up, she said, you're homeless. You really are. I said, yes, homeless. She said, why you just don't go back to the States? I said, because I don't have no family. She said, well, come to church. She came to church, and the preacher preached about purpose and appointments. And to me, it's always fun to go to church because I always want to hear what the good Lord what message He want to give to me. And the preacher started to talk about appointments. And he'd say, well, sometimes people don't reach their appointments. They don't find their appointments. You know what I mean? They don't reach them on time. And what happened was, he said, sometimes you might believe that the place you're at is not the place you're supposed to be because of the circumstances and the life you're living in right now. But I promise you, if you make it to your appointment, like you make it to a hospital, and you get that treatment for that cold or that cancer, eventually you heal. So don't you ever forget your appointment. Always make it to your appointment. Always go to the places where people invite you to, even when it makes no sense. Because if you don't go, you have an opportunity to miss your appointment. This time I become closer with her daughter. We became to have a relationship. We talked. And I always knew that eventually I would have to go back to the States. I tried my hardest to get into a CFL camp. It wasn't working. I was just big, strong, and ready, loved. My heart was fixed. My soul was good. I had a family, a Jamaican family that showed me so much love. And everything that come to my head every night I went to sleep that I had to leave this one day. So it came all the way time that I was going to sign with a team called the Albany Panthers. And they end up saying, I want to give you a contract with to come play. And I said, deal, I'm going to come play. I'm down with that. So I train and I get ready to go to the airport. I'm crying. I'm miserable. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm about to leave the only people that love me, the only people who really cared about me. And I knew that I'd never see them again because that's just the way my life was. I got a daughter. I got to be a father. I got to start a foundation in the States. I could have ran away from my daughter to stay in Canada, but I came back to be homeless. The team had folded. By the time I got back from the city, they said the king is canceled. So not only did I just leave the family that I love, but I get right back in the same situation that I was when I left. They give my contract to another team called the Georgia Fire, and they promised me a house, food, and everything. They give me a container of Peter Pan peanut butter in a case of ramen noodles. I have high blood pressure. My body is impeccable. I'm strong. I'm feeling the part. I'm feeling like I can take over anything. And I have a mini stroke before the first game of camp because I'm eating ramen noodles and that's it every day. Sodium. Found I got high blood pressure. I go and play the game 3 days later. Teammates don't say anything because if they do, I'm going to get kicked out of the house and I'm homeless again. After I played the worst game of my life, they let me go. I was homeless again. They gave me an opportunity and said it's a team that wants to sign you out in Trenton, New Jersey called the Trenton Freedom, first-year team. Very wealthy owners. To find out when I got there, they said, well, we didn't bring you here to sign you. We brought you here for a tryout. So I was riding on a Greyhound for hours next to drug addicts, stinkiest, no money to eat during the stops. And I get down there, I do a tryout with on an empty stomach. I dominate. He said, you're signed to this team, but I want you to know something. They wasn't trying to sign you. They were going to send you back on the same Greyhound you came on if you didn't perform. I dominated. Long story short, I came and we were last in the league in sacks. I missed the first 3 games. We were first in the league in sacks by the end of the season, first year of existence. Made the playoffs first year of existence. Went to the quarterfinals game to go to the championship first year in existence, and I was the leading sack leader on the team with 14 sacks in 8 games. I broke the single game sack record, 4.5 sacks on Mother's Day against Bernie Nortowski. After the season, the coach promised me an opportunity, promised me a housing, promised me to take care of me, franchise me as a player. Ultimately ended up lying. I was homeless. I was staying in East Windsor, a Holiday Inn. That was where the team was housed. I was sleeping around, sleeping in rooms. The players were sleeping, going home with their families. I was sleeping in that room, shut the door, sleep in that room. And basically, I was homeless, begging people to help me. The coach stopped answering my calls, even though I helped him build his franchise and helped him be a great coach. I had a player that tore his ACL named Mohamed Sadu, and we were sat in this hotel room. He was injured. He was the only player that can keep the hotel room because it was a part of the team's insurance. He can sue if they did. So they kept his room. He was like, man, bro, you can sleep in my room. It had 2 beds. I got a job at that same hotel, and they told me I couldn't live there if I worked there. I started being a front desk tip. And I'll take people in, and I did an excellent job. I would get all these TripAdvisor things, and then get that say excellent sir, and all this other stuff. And I was working for the first time in my life. You know, they found out I was living in a hotel, ended up getting fired. I still stayed in the hotel with Muhammad. We would struggle. You know, his girl and his parents would send him money sometimes. He would get us one of those pastas, and he'd split the pasta in half and give me half. And we'll stay there, man. All the money I get, I'll buy food for us as well. But it was a struggle, man. You know, we had no soap, we had no deodorant. But what we had was, I obtained so much knowledge in that room because I hit rock bottom. You know, as a player to come up and he said, I go to Dover, Delaware every once in a while. That's where I'm from. I went to Dover, college? Wesley College in Dover, Delaware. We went down there, we'd party, we'd jump from girl to girl house. I'll be homeless one night, sleeping in the car. He'll be at his parents or at one of his girls that he knew from college. And ultimately, we ended up getting into it. Basically, he left me stranded. You know what I mean? I thought he was my friend, and he left me stranded. And I was dependent on him, you know what I mean? And I was homeless, and one day, I was sleeping at a girl house. It just felt weak, you know what I mean? It just felt like it was nothing. And I was starving, and I'd go out, act like I was going to get food, and be taking food out of Wawa garbage cans and all kinds of stuff, and just pure rock bottom. And one day, I was on Facebook venting, and Coach Bernie Nortowski was on there he was at the hospital. He was on the phone getting his blood infusion. And I was writing suicidal quotes, like, I'm tired of life, I'm ready to give up. And he said, he messaged me, Will, where you at? And I was like, Coach, I'm in Dover, Delaware. He said, well, I'm in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I was like, well, Coach, I'm here. I'm stuck, man. I hit rock bottom. I need a team, man. I need a team that can house me and take care of me. And I promise you an all-star performance in the season. That's all I got. He was like, well, how about I move you here? He said, how about I go home and talk to my wife and I'll call you back? He called me back. Within an hour later, he was on the road to come pick me up. His wife had agreed to let me come stay in their basement. Only knew me from sacking his quarterback. Knew me from nothing else.
Wow.
Took this big black kid, put him in his basement, let me go down there. I stayed there. Ultimately, ended up finding a girlfriend that was from Hanover, Pennsylvania. Moved down there with her. No, I first moved to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Marcus Colston to play for the Harrisburg Stampede. Marcus Colston owns some houses across from Hershey Park, and Coach B had moved me down there, and that's when I ended up meeting the girl. She was a school teacher. She basically told me that she wanted to be my girl. She loved my story. She wanted to be a part of my life. When I got down there, she had realized, like I said, I didn't have much. I only had a job at Giant Grocery Store. I had an associate's degree, but I was in a city that was pretty. What can I say? It wasn't that diverse. You know what I mean? It wasn't full of my type of people, black people. And that city was hard for me to get a job. I faced a lot of racism and a lot of stuff just wasn't panning out, and it didn't work out as good as I wanted. Her parents ended up being racist. Her father was. He owned a car wash down in the city, and I know he just didn't want his daughter with me. He saw nothing in me. And eventually, I ended up after the Harrisburg Stampede had folded, I basically ended up with no team, no nothing, and also I found out I had a slight cracked vertebrae. And I didn't go, to the doctors to get all this certified. I just kept running, kept working, and kept falling, and noticing that my right leg would go numb. I couldn't hit people like I used to. I would hit bags and I would fall. And I was like, what's going on? I believe it was God that kept me, that canceled that Harrisburg Stampede team and prevented me from hurting myself and potentially being a vegetable. I went to Akron, Ohio after that. I was just beaten, man. I'm like, man, I can't find love. I can't find nobody. I don't got no job. I got a daughter. I hit rock bottom. My brother was this big All-American at Akron University down in Terry Boughton. Terry Boughton found my little brother out of the juvenile detention center. That's crazy. Yeah. And my brother ended up playing for him. Played well. Actually, sacked Hackenberg. He got a picture on my Facebook of him sacking Hackenberg. I'm laying on this couch crying. He's like, brother, I want you to know something, bro. I know we ain't got family. I know we ain't got much, but we always will have each other. And as long as I got, you will always have. My little brother touched me that day. I got to get the heck off my butt and do what's right. And do what's going to take care of me and start working for my purpose. And at this time, I didn't have one. I called Coach B and said, Coach, can I coach? And he said, Will, I will always be here for you. Yes, you can coach. And I had a friend named Mike that lived in me in Hanover. I used to work out with, met him because I walked to the Gold's Gym probably about 15 miles from my house one day just to get out the house because it was boring. We met up. We became good friends. That man drove all the way from Hanover, Pennsylvania to Akron, Ohio to pick me up. And I told him, man, I don't have no gas money. I don't really have nothing, man, but I promise you, man, if you pick me up, you won't regret it. He picked me up. I went back down. I stayed one more week with the girl that I left with because she had still loved me, but we both knew it would never really work. I gathered myself. I put the love and all that stuff in a box and put it up as far as a relationship. And I went to Hershey, a new man, to be a coach. My first time arriving in Harrisburg was my first game. I went in, Coach B gave me my coach's shirt, gave me my coach's hat, the best feeling I ever had. And I started coaching the defensive line, and I started to realize what was the beauty of being a coach, and that's watching somebody do the things that you used to do. You teaching them. And I'm watching these kids my same age, 26, 25, and they listening to me. This is my defensive line. And I'm teaching them, and I'm seeing all this stuff manifest. But as we grow closer, we go all the way to the semifinals and lose to the York Capitals. I basically try to go to the hotel. I started sneaking in the hotel with the players because, I was young. I wanted to have a little fun, do something. I knew I couldn't bring girls to Coach B house or anything like that. So I stayed at the hotel, and eventually I just bamboozled my way up in there. I just stayed. Got a roommate, like I'm staying with the players, Coach. I'm staying here. And I stayed, and it was fun being around the players because I was just a year removed from being around that atmosphere my whole life. And I loved it. And one day I was sitting on the couch during the end of the season, and I was talking to one of the owners. I didn't know I was talking to one of the owners of the hotel wives, and I'm telling her a little bit of my story. She said, at the end of the story, she said, well, where you go next? I said, I don't know. She said, how about I let you stay in the Abraham Lincoln Hotel for free? Can't make this up, man. I stayed. I start to get up and go volunteer at I-Lead, a Mentor Wednesday, and also at Citadel. First at I-Lead, it was a part of the team, and one day a player named Muhammad, he told me to come, ironically, another player named Muhammad, told me to come in and come speak at the school because he didn't want to do it. I went and spoke, blew him away. Then I felt some type of way. I felt like the same adrenaline I got when I started my path as a linebacker, the same adrenaline I got as a speaker. So I started to ask around the high schools, can I come and speak to your kids free of charge? I asked Miss Davis at Citadel High School to let me come in and speak. I spoke. Kids was in tears. 30 minutes later, I got a phone call saying how much we got to pay you to speak. A week later, I was in the school doing 4 assemblies in one day. 2 weeks later, I was in St. Joseph Hospital speaking to oncology nurses, the same oncology nurses that in the same oncology nurse's office that Coach B had messaged me from the year before I was homeless. And I found my purpose, man. I started to speak. I started to get paid. I started to grow. I started to hear this kid that didn't even know all his multiplications his junior year in college. Hear a kid that couldn't even read at a 5th grade level in high school in the 12th grade. And now I'm going around speaking to hospitals and speaking to businesses and speaking to people that I never even imagined that I could speak to. And what my gift was, and the biggest thing that I took from my experiences was your purpose is your $1 million check. And if you don't take it and invest it and put it in a bank account where nobody else can get it and sign that check, you will never get it. I tell everybody, you're a walking $1 million check. You better, all you have to do now is sign it. All you have to do. And I tell people, I had a quote I made this morning. I said, you're going to have to pay for your dreams. It's going to hurt. It's going to beat you up. It's going to spit you out. But once your dreams say that you're man enough to handle it, your dream will start to pay you. Because people think your dream's just going to give you everything. No, you got to put work in. You got to put work in it every day, tirelessly. 4 or 5 in the morning when everybody else sleeping. You got to be driven to get your dream and your aspirations off the ground. You got to know if you lay here and you bleed, you're going to die there. When I was homeless in Dover, Delaware, I watched people walk over me. And I never, ever could do it. Ever since I was a kid, I would give my change and my dollars to poor people and drug addicts and alcoholics. And I knew would go buy drugs and alcohol with it because that one split second of happiness can save a man or a woman's life. So if you ever have a chance to give someone happiness, don't ever not take the opportunity because it will heal you in here. God will start unwrapping that gift that you have inside of you. God will start to help you skip that step that I talked about earlier about God placing that gift at the bottom of the step. He will start to skip steps for you. He will start to throw hands out to help you pull you up and show you that you're bigger than what you think you are. Because what I always tell people, I had a quote that it's very important where you place your dreams. Because sometimes you can't place the world best burger maker with the world best pizza maker. They will never see eye to eye. But if you place your dream in places that cherish your dreams, that admire your dream, that can relate to your dream, then you have found your purpose. And now your purpose will start to work for you. So now you will start having checks that you never even expected. You will start having people coming to ask you for advice that you never even expected. I'm 26 years old. My advantage is, people say it all the time, I wish I would have known what I know now. I shut up, I listen, and I get what they wanted to know now. And I take it and apply it to my young 26-year-old life, which separates me from my age group. You're clubbing, I'm reading. You hanging out with girls, I'm thinking about another speech to impact the world. You party now, where I'm going to live the life of a millionaire, even if I don't even touch millions. Because what's very important to me, and what people must understand, and I want to get this out on this message, that family that you go home to every single day, that wife, that son, that daughter, that grandmother, that grandfather, that's the biggest gift that you can possibly have. And that's the most important fact that you must know. The little things are always the best. The big things just look good because they're big. All I can tell people is to embrace all the little things and gather all the little things. And eventually them little things will grow bigger in your heart than the material things.
Huge. That's huge. Wow. And you know, and something you said, and I'll re-say it, is your purpose is your $1 million check. And the important thing is, you might not have $1 million, but if you're living your purpose, you'll feel like you have $1 million, and that's huge. And you know, we appreciate you taking your time today and telling us your message and telling us your story and telling people that are listening how important it is to follow your dreams and understand that you're here for a purpose. And you need to really take that purpose and impact the rest of the world. And that's huge. But with that being said, we wanted to get into the rapid fire questions with you. Some are fun, some are meaningful, but we ask you this. Answer with only one word or one sentence, no more. Okay?
Yes,
so
sir.
the first one is, obviously you come from a football world. Who's your favorite football player of all time?
Lawrence Taylor.
Okay. What's one thing you can't live without?
One thing I can't live without?
Yes.
Love.
I like that answer. What's your favorite? This is a two-part question. What's your favorite and your least favorite word?
My favorite word is extraordinary. My least favorite word is can't.
If you could go back and give young William one word of advice, what would it be?
Never lose your purpose.
So this is something that we end every interview on with this question. The name of this podcast is the Growth Now Movement. So it's all about growth, whether it be personally or professionally. So the question is, what was your biggest moment of growth in life, personally or professionally?
The time sleeping in Dover, Delaware, when I saw people walk over me when I was homeless. That gave me supernatural powers that nobody else would ever understand. And that's the gift to succeed on command. I have no room for failure.
Awesome. William, again, thank you so much for your time. And we just want to kind of wrap everything up here with, how do people get a hold of you to be able to speak with their organizations or their schools?
You can go to www.iamwilliamhollis.com. You can book me through there on my website. My Twitter account where I drop daily quotes is thespeaker_92. And my Facebook page is William Hollis. Also have a fan page, William Hollis, public figure. And I also just started a GoFundMe account I just started to publish my first book. I'm paying everything out of pocket. I'm a young guy. And it's a story that will sweep the country by storm. And whether they help me with it or not, it's going to be absolutely amazing. And I started that GoFundMe account. I also have a couple upcoming events that's coming up in Harlem. I have a speakers contest in Harlem. I have the Big Vision Foundation with Dan Clouser at the Doubletree Hotel on February 6th. I actually just posted a podcast we did on my Facebook page this morning. It's absolutely amazing. I'm doing a lot of stuff, man, working with a lot of people. I can't talk about a lot of the TV stuff and all of that stuff right now due to stipulations and stuff like that. But once it's all done, I'll definitely get that to you guys.
Awesome.
I can come back on the show and share with you guys. You guys have an amazing show, and I'm very honored with the opportunity to be on it today. Very thankful. Thank you.
Yeah, William, thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're the man. I'm so happy I got to meet you, and hopefully, our friendship and our relationship can continue to grow.
Yes, sir. And make sure y'all tell them high school, man. I got a speaker that'll blow this school away.
You got it.
You got it, man. Thank you so much, William. You have a good one. Wow. Can you believe that story, guys? Thank you so much for listening. Greatly appreciate it. And here comes the annoying part. If you enjoyed what you heard, please go on to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Let us know what you thought. Obviously, those ratings boost us up, and we can get more listeners, and we can inspire more people like we're doing for you. Thank you so much, and have an amazing week.
Thank you for listening and joining the Growth Now movement. This podcast was created to get you to where you want to go. Hopefully it helps as you take action on your Growth Now journey.